Good morning. Welcome to AppRiver's inaugural YouTube live broadcast. I'm Jim McClellan, and I'm joined today by AppRiver's channel chief, Justin Gilbert. Justin, you're not only AppRiver's channel chief, but for the third time straight, CRN channel chief as well. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, you know, I'm going to be really cliche here and say that it's totally a team effort. If it was all just me, I don't think that I would have any sort of channel chief status at all. We have a fantastic team in the channel sales department downstairs. I'm sure most of them are watching instead of selling right now. And those guys are fantastic at kind of living the ideals that Mike and Joel, our co-owners, had developed, which was the phenomenal care model, and that's why our channel is so successful.
I can vouch that it was mostly his team. Well, this morning we're going to try to give you some information that you can use. This is aimed at being the inaugural broadcast, one in a series where we're going to try to bring you interesting people, interesting topics, and
more interesting than me, for sure,
and me as well. But this morning I want to go back to what was an insufferably long car ride I took with Justin a couple of months ago, where we had an opportunity to talk about a lot of things. But one of those things was a conversation that we had, and I was asleep for a lot of this, so it was...
I'll just keep talking, regardless if he's asleep or not.
I seem to remember that we talked about partners you had spoken to that want to move from an hourly billing model to a recurring or MSP model. Before we get deeply into that, why don't you talk about what the differences between those two models are?
Sure. So, you know, there's the IT consultant and project-based model, and then there's the MSP model. And in both, there are very successful partners, and there's reasons why you would choose each. For instance, in the IT consultant model, it's primarily focused on projects and working those projects and then moving on to another set of clients, or going back and working projects for an existing client that you might have already worked with before. We have fantastic partners. In fact, they're content producers on YouTube as well. Lisa from Call That Girl, Marvin B from, he's on Podnuts with a Z at the end, from MB Systems. Those guys are fantastic content producers.
Absolutely.
And really great at outlining how to build an IT consultant business. Then we also have the MSP side, which is focused more around recurring revenue and building that up over time, and it's really built around increasing efficiencies, so that way when you are working in that recurring revenue model, you can get back to selling more customers and continually building on that.
All right, and that brings me to a good point. This is a question I had. Recurring revenue. I mean, what's not to like about that? There's money, there's money, and it keeps coming back.
Sure, sure.
But there's some partners that do both, some partners that do more of one than the other, and for good reasons.
Yeah, there's definitely partners at all ranges of the spectrum, from pure MSP, cloud MSP, to a IT consultant, to a mix of those. And, you know, depending on where you are in that journey, or if you're staying as an IT consultant, because there's a lot of reasons to do that as well, you know, there are partners who, they don't want to focus on the support and the billing side of the house. And when you get into an MSP model, you really do have to have a pretty good support structure in-house, as well as a billing engine inside of your team, to be able to manage the incoming streams of support and billing things from vendors and through your clients. So there's plenty of clients who don't want to go that route, and it's completely understandable. And you know, as I said, there's very successful partners who do the IT consultant work well.
Okay, but now going back to the partners that you've spoken with who want to move from that hourly billing model to MSP, what do you tell partners? What's your advice to those partners who say, I'd like to do more recurring revenue? You know, I'd like to move more out of the hourly billing into recurring revenue. What do you tell them?
Sure. So, you know, first you have to choose your vendors wisely. You know, you want to choose a vendor who is going to provide you with some sorts of you know, efficiencies, and then you also want to make sure that, and I think we'll get more into that in a minute, but you also want to choose you want to choose what you're going to offer your clients in that recurring revenue model with care. And to do that, you really need to look at what you're going to offer. And the best place to do that is through a little bit of marketing research, looking at your existing clientele who you've supported in the past, and finding out what they need today and what needs are not being met today. And then once you do that, there's some fantastic resources out there for partners to help them to be able to kind of decide on the path forward. Robin Robbins is a really great group for that. HTG. These are communities that do a lot of support for IT consultants in trying to either stay the IT consultant route but be more successful, or to move into the MSP model.
All right. Now, you touched on this, and because you were reading my cheat sheet, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But that brings us to another point. And this is kind of where we start to bridge that gap over into maybe talking about ourselves a little bit more. But
I like selling.
Yeah. What should a partner look for in an upstream vendor? What are some common, AppRiver or otherwise? What should you be
So I'm
looking for?
definitely going to be a little bit biased here, so take this with a grain of salt. But I think we have some of the best solutions on earth for partners. But a couple things you're going to want to look for in general. You're going to want someone who you're going to want a vendor who's got longevity behind them. If you're going to hitch your saddle to any sort of vendor, you want to be sure that they are stable, that they've been there for a long time, that they've been in that industry for a while, and you want to read reviews online for sure to see what their history is like. And then, secondly, beyond that, you want to make sure that that vendor has built in efficiencies that will help you to grow your efficiencies as you move into the MSP model. Things like working with ConnectWise or Autotask to build out billing efficiencies, AppMailer, which is a product we have for building out marketing efficiencies for partners who might not have a lot of strength in the marketing area. So you want to kind of partner yourself with someone who's been in it for a while and provides you a lot of efficiencies.
And we talked about this earlier, the dedicated channel sales advisors, your team.
Yeah, there's a whole thing and a whole culture here at AppRiver that I always feel kind of chintzy when I talk to rooms full of people, because if you haven't experienced it, it does come off more as something that a sales guy is trying to pitch you on. But we have plenty of partners who review us across the internet. That there's one thing that sets us apart from our competition, and that's purely the culture that has been created here that makes people want to do more for partners just for the sake of doing more, and that's called our phenomenal care model. And it is a selling point that in my mind increases the last bit that a partner should need to worry about, which is the support efficiencies. So we have a team that does nothing but focus on making sure partners they look like rock stars in front of their clients. When something goes wrong, which it always does, you'll have a team of people here who will go above and beyond. They're almost like your outside support team, really.
That's terrific. Well, we're getting a high sign over here that suggests that we may be running out of time.
Yeah, I'll do that quite a bit if you let me talk. I'll run out of time.
We want to thank you all for joining us today. Again, this was our version 1.0. And so far, we've made it through without any major embarrassments. Or
well, hold on, though. I could definitely
That's
do
true.
that.
This could change within just a minute. As I said earlier, there's going to be more to come. We hope to come back and do this again, bring you great guests, great information. You can help us out by leaving comments. Let us know if you have any questions. If you have any comments, we can take it. Trust us, we'll get it from our colleagues here shortly. Seriously, any questions that you have, any comments that you have, leave them. And also, we'd ask that you follow us on social media. I ask for all of our social media icons to be placed over Justin's face, and so if they've done that, then good. If not, they're probably somewhere else down here. Justin, what am I forgetting?
Make sure to subscribe, so that way when we start coming out with content, because as I said in the beginning, we're not going to be the ones that are always up here. In fact, I want you to have better content producers. I mentioned a couple of
and better talent.
Yeah, and better talent. I mentioned a couple of content producers early on, Lisa and Marvin B. And we want to bring partners who are already successful in your space to you, so you can learn from them on what's made them successful.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
And we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Have a good one.